right, guys, welcome back. 1776 or bust. So for all of you out there, I'm just going to let you know this is about my fifth take on making this video. I am just completely getting rusty at this. It's been about a week and a half since I made a video, and my God, the first 4 takes of this have completely sucked. So hopefully this won't, but if it is, then we'll just try over. So let's talk about the gun that's on the table, and there's a few of them, but it's this one right here. This is the P320 X Compact RXP. Now, for those of you out there who have been waiting to see this gun, this is just the initial impression. So I'm not going to be able to shoot this. There's not going to be a shooting review just yet. Hopefully when everything kind of settles here up in New York, I can get out to the ranges, but everything right now is closed. So that kind of puts me in an awkward spot. But again, I always lead off with an initial impression. So there won't be any shooting in any of those videos. It's just the fact of what my impressions are out of the box. So I'm going to give it to you pretty straight up in the first 2 minutes of this video. This gun is amazing. It really is. Out of the box, I am thoroughly impressed with this handgun. Okay, review over. But there are some reasons why I feel that way. And comparatively speaking to some of the other red dot capable handguns that are on the market right now, I think this is going to be the best one. And I can only say that as the initial impression. When I shoot it, it might be horrible, but I don't think it's going to be, because I have shot the X Carry and that was a fantastic gun as well. But the X Compact to me is the most complete red dot capable handgun out. Now, I have not tested all of them. I have not owned all of them. There are some out there that I've never had my hands on. But from what I've owned, and I've owned obviously the MRD, I have the RDO, I had Gen 5 MOS, I've had, I'm trying to think what else. I had the PPS, with the Shield Optic ready on there. So I've had a bunch of these handguns, and I've had the P10S. So I've had a bunch of these guns that are red dot capable, but this gun is the best. And there are a few reasons why I'm saying that. First off, let's just talk about the overall presentation. I think Sig did a great job with redesigning the X grips. And that goes all the way back to the first one I bought, which was the X Carry, and that would be the professional series model. But when they decided to change everything and put that little finger groove in there and just change the quality of the texturing on the grip, I have to say, guys, when you went from a gun, let me just pull it out here. When you went from a gun that looked like that to now that looks like this, it is a huge difference. I mean, aesthetically, for your eyes, visually, it's much more beautiful, no doubt. I would also say to you that ergonomically, the gun has been vastly improved. This little cutout here for your finger has made such a significant improvement in regards to the way this gun handles, at least for the X Carry and definitely now for the X Compact. So that's something to keep in mind. So the grip modules, fantastic job. I would say Sig hit a home run with this. In regards to the slide has changed a little bit. You know, the angles are a little bit different than what I've seen on some of the old Sigs, and I could be right, I could be wrong. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but it does seem that the presentation of the slide is a little bit better. It seems like the slide cuts are a little bit thicker, a little bit deeper, and it makes the gun easy to be able to do whatever you want with it. It's just fantastic. Again, very nice presentation in regards to the aesthetic value of the handgun. The triggers on the X Carry and the X Compact come with that flat face trigger that you see right here. Again, I really think that's a huge improvement versus the old triggers that they used to have. They used to have those hook triggers, which were not everybody's favorite. And again, this trigger seems to work really well. Now, of course, you can always upgrade them to the Apex if you choose to do that. The Apex trigger is just simply ridiculous. I mean, there is no take up on that trigger. You can see right there. I mean, there's nothing. And then it's just a nice, beautiful break, a short trigger pull, and a fairly short reset. It's just a great trigger setup. However, this one out of the box, from what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling as I've been dry firing this seems to be the best 320 trigger that I've ever owned. Now, I've had 2 other 320s. I've had a 320 RX. I've had now the X Carry, and now this one. This one right now out of the box trigger was the best, and it is the best. As a matter of fact, I'm even contemplating if I'm going to change this over to an Apex, because I don't really think it needs it. I really don't. And that's a first for me to say, especially for a Sig trigger, or really for any trigger that Apex makes something for. I'm just not sure if I'm going to upgrade it, because honestly, I don't think it needs to be upgraded at all. And, take that for what it's worth. But that's definitely what I've felt about this handgun. One of the other things you're going to notice also is that the grip module on this one is a little bit different than the X Carry. So you can see that this grip module is a little bit straighter in the back. This one here, the beaver tail, is a little bit shorter. And you can see that it kind of has almost like that classic Sig look to it. So to give you a comparison, this is the old grip module. Thanks, Art, by the way. You can see that this old grip module doesn't extend as far back, but it still has a little bit of that curve in the back that this one initially had as well. So, while it is a nice, ergonomically good lower, it's still not exactly like the X-Carry model. This one's just shaped a little bit differently. So just, keep that into the back of your head. Magazines are very nice magazines. Again, these are made in Italy, so that's nice. I know some of them have been made in the U.S., but these are Italian made, which means it's probably going to be a Mech-Gar magazine, which are some of my favorite. Magazines insert very easily. Again, they reject very nicely, so there's no issue with that. So that's always a good thing as well. Very positive ejection with the mags, and the insertion goes in fairly easy. The red dot optic also comes with a cap to it that you guys can put on or off depending on what you want to do. We'll leave it on just for now, and then we'll take it off when I show you the dot. But that's some of the basics, especially on the grip module, especially on the trigger. So I just want to show you the trigger really again, because it's just so good. But here's your take up on the trigger. So it's not too short, but it's definitely not too long. And once you hit the wall on that trigger, it is not going anywhere. There's not really any movement. It just breaks very nicely, breaks at that 90-degree angle. Again, the reset is super short. It's a little springy, so you got to make sure you control that. But the reset is really short, very nice, very, I guess if you want to call it tactile and audible, you can definitely do that. But it is just a nice feeling, easily controlled trigger, and that's always a good part of this gun. Now let's go to the top of the slide here. So one of the things about the old X Compacts was that when you added the optic, whatever optic it was that it was going to take, you had to get rid of your co-witnessing. And that was always one of the reasons why I stayed away from those guns. For me, as a newer shooter to red dots and optic capable guns, I want to have the ability to have that co-witnessing, because for me it's important. I'm not going to be the best shot with or without it, and at the same time, just to know that I have that as a backup to me is a little bit more secure in the back of my mind than having it not there. So the old ones, you'd have to remove the plate, the optic would be put on, but you'd lose that rear sight, and that kind of sucked in my opinion. So that's actually why I went with the X-Carry Professional Series, because you had the plate, but you kept your co-witnessing, which I thought was really smart on their part. Again, the plate, or I should say the mounting of the optic, goes directly on the slide. As far as I know, I haven't taken this down, but as far as I know, there is no mounting plate. Now, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but it does not appear that there is any plate on there. And if there is, it is a very, very thin plate, because you don't see any plate at all. As a matter of fact, just to kind of give you a comparison, here's the MRD, and you can see the significant difference. The MRD right here, guys, look at the plate, look at the thickness of the plate. And that causes the actual red dot to sit higher. So even though these are co-witnessing sights, you're going to see here that even with the height of these night vision sights, you're not getting great co-witnessing ability. And that's kind of interesting, and it's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, that's what I have. And so far it seems to work okay, but definitely because of this plate, it does sit a little bit higher in the slide. This one feels like it's more specialized. In other words, it sits lower in the slide. You have the X-ray sights on there. And again, they are no higher than the night vision sights that I have on this gun, which is kind of interesting. And yet these actually work much better. As a matter of fact, when you take, let me take that cap off there. When you take a look at the co-witnessing, you can see that it is much clearer, much easier to make up that 3-dot sight. The X-ray sights are fantastic on there. That green is it just works so well. And I think if you have those sights, you guys know that this green just stands out no matter what environment you're in. The lens is very clear. It does have a little bit of that orangey tint to it, but it does not seem to discolor anything. Maybe get the green a little bit duller, I guess, in brightness, but it doesn't seem to really do much of anything in regards to changing the colors, which I think is always positive. You don't really want any distortion. All right, so in regards to the optic, one of the things you're going to notice is the brightness of the dot. Now, I may not be able to be seen too great on this because I have a lot of lights here to obviously light the video. But one of the things I noticed is that the settings on it are fairly easy to adjust. And again, the brightness of the dot is very good. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly what the MOA is on this. I want to say, gosh, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't know if it's a 3 or 6 or whatever. I'd have to look that up, but maybe I'll put that in the description after the video, but I didn't actually read about it. So that's my bad. If you guys know, leave those comments down below. But the co-witnessing on here is very good. Like I said, the dot is very clear, very clean, very crisp. There doesn't seem to be a lot of blooming of the dot, even with my eyes. Again, the optic, you can change the actual, let me go on here. So once you go all the way up in regards to brightness, it will actually flash, which is kind of interesting. And it'll tell you, okay, you're at the highest brightness. So this is the highest, brightest setting that you got right here. And that sucker glows, man. I find it very interesting that, you know, when it's almost like a laser beam coming at your eyes. And I'll try to get it down to the lowest setting so you guys can see that. So this is the lowest setting right here. And you can barely make it out on camera. You can barely make it out even on the human eye. So I'll turn it up a couple here. And then that's 3 clicks up on brightness. So you can go really dim or you can go extremely bright. And I think that's a good feature for the simple fact that it allows you to make sure it doesn't get washed out in the daylight. You know, some people, you know, will say that you got to make sure that the dots don't get washed out. In this case, because this thing is so bright, I don't ever see that happening. And from what I've seen outside, taking the gun out, I haven't really had any issues with that at all. So the trigger guard is very nicely smooth. Again, you have that little cutout here, which allows you to get very comfortable, very comfortable on this grip. And to me, that's a huge improvement. The finishing on here, this is an aluminum bodied optic, but the finishing looks fairly nice. It's a matte finish, so you don't have to worry about any glares or anything like that. Also, the barrel is a typical Sig barrel. I don't think there's anything different than any other barrel I've seen from Sig. But overall, quality and just the amazingness behind this gun right now has just completely blown me away. I have never really been a huge Sig fan. They're not bad guns, but I've never been a huge fan, you know. And for me, since I got the X Carry, I've kind of turned that around. I actually went and got the 365, which again, I'm still a little iffy on this gun. But right now, I'm going to tell you, this gun right here is top down my favorite handgun. And it's hard for me to say that, but it is. And it comes from a lot of different areas. One angle of thinking is the fact that it is extremely comfortable in my hand. It is so easy to grab this gun and just feel like you absolutely own the gun. And what I mean by that is you just get such a nice grip on this handgun that it makes it almost impossible for this gun to go anywhere. Secondly, I'm going to be getting one of those gas pedals for here. I want to see how that works. I do. I want to see if that, you know, does give you a little bit more control when you're shooting. I can't wait to install it. It's going to be here in a couple of days, and then hopefully at some point I can shoot it. But that's going to be going on here. Other than that, I think it's going to stay as you see. I don't think I'm going to upgrade the trigger because I don't think it needs to be. I think the Optic is spot on perfect at this point. Again, we'll see what happens. I don't plan on taking a hammer to it or dropping it on a floor. But at the same time, right now, I do think it's built from quality materials, and it looks like it's going to work really well. The co-witnessing sights are fantastic. The X-ray sights I love. I think it's a great series, and I think it just sits so well on the slide based on the fact that this optic is getting cut so low into the slide itself. Operation of controls, very easy. The takedown is very standard. Lock it back, drop the takedown handle, slide comes off, no trigger pull needed. You've got your pick rail if you want to put anything on there, if you choose to. And again, the magazine use, in my opinion, is very good. Very good quality magazines, goes in, no issue. To me, you got a winner here. So I definitely want to hear what your comments are down below. What do you think about the P320 X Compact RXP model? I do. I love this gun. This is a gun that, again, is going to be a keeper because of the simple fact that it works on every level for me as a shooter. At least I think it's going to. That could change after the shooting impression, but right now, for me, this is top down the best red dot capable gun on the market. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Leave those comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and till we meet again, hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe, be healthy, and just, you know, keep your loved ones close. As always, everyone, freedom is never free.